doing this for a long time now. Help us start to rebuild it.
What were some of the topics you guys were talking about and trying out?
Oh, on Saturday? No, we were just talking about our projects and stuff, and that leads to perspectives. And I mean, I think we all agree lately. I'm talking to a bunch of the other guys, the other brothers. They're kind of everyone's kind of in this transition mode right now. So it kind of leads to our projects. Everything that we're doing kind of it stems from some place that we are, that we're at in life. So
I know Ant's got some big projects coming up.
Yeah, I mean, thanks to you too. I mean, it's definitely a collective effort. I can't take all the credit, that's for sure. But I'm super stoked, feeling like motivated, like more than ever right now. I'm just in grind mode in my shred process. This time, like it's an actual like start. Last week is kind of like a transition into it, kind of like level out, kind of like get used to eating clean. So I was easy on myself, but yeah, really get the ball rolling now. So getting into high gear.
Yeah.
What about you guys? How's your projects? I got a good idea with like Jordan, but what about you, Sid? I know you still have the edits for Losing Game.
So yesterday I actually I dropped off the footage to the editor, and I spoke with him before I left, and he's gonna just update me when something's ready. We're gonna start interviewing colorists and sound designers and musical composer for the original music. I'm gonna start. The music is probably last, but I'm really interested to see the sound designer and the colorist, because those are gonna be very important. So it's exciting, and it's funny that like all these projects that have been in my head all these years past are starting to become relevant.
Yeah. It's crazy how when you plant seeds or you start a project like so many years ago, and then because of your path now you end up crossing a bridge, or you started seeing a bridge that was relevant for, it's totally how I've been dealing with like the past year too. It's just things that you just planted seeds everywhere, and then all of a sudden this one started sprouting, and then you meet someone that knows about that type of plant, and then it just matches.
Yeah. Well, and on top of that, like Nieman set up a meeting last week for yesterday, and I met with his theological professor.
Mm.
How'd that go?
Yeah, you guys mentioned that.
It went really good, actually. He's a really, really nice, smart guy. And I felt very comfortable just being upfront with him. I pitched him like my ideas, and he's very knowledgeable about all religions. And he was very insightful. Just like he pointed resources about world religions and where they overlap and stuff like that. Because I mentioned, I don't want to alienate other religions. I want this to be a story not about Catholicism or Christianity, but I want it to be a story about humanity and about how, and he like jumped on that. He was just like, he's like, wow, if you really want to do that, then that would be amazing, because it's more of the question of not how different or how special are these men, but where do we all find our commonalities? Where are we all similar? What traits do we all share? And instead of fighting the differences and highlighting the differences between each other, in now so more than ever, we need something that is a common denominator, that we can all agree that this is who we are. We're a human race.
To embrace like all our flaws.
Yeah, all our flaws, and finding those similarities that, like black, white, Asian, purple, green. At the end of the day, we're all humans. Yeah. And that's really the story that I'm trying to tell anyway. So he was really excited, and I had my notebook, and I wrote down like 4 pages of notes as he was talking, and he mentioned a lot of things that I remember that kind of like planted more seeds in my head, where what's our true purpose in our life? What's the meaning of our life? And what was reassuring, he was like, I don't think it's heretical at all. I think it's a great, forum to pose those kind of questions. Who better to talk about that? And he said something like, morality is a choice. And I think that's the thing. It's like we choose to be good people. We're not forced. We're not. It's not inherently born either. At the end of the day, we know what is right and we know what is good, and we have the choice to be bad. We have the choice to do the wrong thing, but morality means we make the good choice. And
Yeah,
I just like
that's
kind of
and that's what we were talking about this on Saturday. That we kind of hit something like that, where that's what virtue really is: having the ability to do something bad, but choosing to not, or choosing to do
Right.
something beneficial for all. And I
Yeah.
think that's, I mean, yeah, that's really when we come to crossroads, all of us we relate to that. So, given any situation, a human being in that situation, what would they naturally think? And I mean, based on their life and their life understanding, what would
Yeah.
they choose to do?
And that's even deeper, and you hit the point right there. The what would a human do?
Yeah,
Because it's like if they were just saints and they were gods, it's like they never had a choice. And
true.
that really sparked that in me. It's like they could have been bad people, but because of who they are, and he said also, he's like, I'm sure they lost a lot of hope. And I'm sure the only way they could have come out of that was to find that hope again. And I'm sure they found it within each other's friendship, within the friendship that Jesus formed between them.
Damn.
And I was like,
Wow. Yeah.
wow,
The
good
bond,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
So is he going to be like a resource for you when you're kind of writing this? Like that's
Yeah,
something, dude.
yeah.
He sounds like the guy. Anything
said-
like historical, you can
Yeah.
cross check with him.
And he's like he got super excited. Like he's like, wow, like I never imagined a story like that. And it sounds
Wow.
amazing. And he was just
Wow.
like, yeah, you sound like the perfect guy to write it. I was like, man, thank you.
That's
Well,
awesome, man.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
the fact that this guy studied this for years, for decades, if anything, and he
Yeah.
still didn't think of an idea like this.
That's true. I mean, I'm just that fucked up.
That's what
It takes a little bit of madness, of course, but he said he would love to, keep up with us, and if we ever have any questions, he would love to do another Zoom session with us and talk with us. And that's the thing with me, is that I'm always constantly planting seeds. I mean, those were seeds planted years ago, like almost a decade ago. I'm just constantly planting seeds. Today I'm trying to plant seeds, and yeah, it's an up and down process. You never know what's a time waster, and you never know what is going to be the greatest, what's going to have fruit. You never know, so you just have to trust at that point. And yeah, I'm just lucky enough to find something that I'm excited to do, and yeah, just keep plugging away at it. Up and down, though. It's definitely up and down.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's just entrepreneurship, like
Mhm.
directing, like whatever, like that's just life.
When I'm sure you guys feel the same way. It's like when you're onto something you feel is very important, it's like you get really excited, and then
You feel
And
all
it-
the emotions: excited, scared,
Yeah.
nervous, like
Yep.
the whole
ready,
spectrum.
unready. Yeah.
And then you get to a point where it's just like it gets so big, and you kind of think like, man, is this all a waste of time? Like,
Yeah.
like am I that saying that you can't see the forest for the trees because you're so close to the project, you never take a step back and think like, oh man, this is kind of crazy. So I don't know. That just I feel like that a lot.
But that just
Really
shows,
cool.
like the saying goes, like if your dreams don't scare you, you're not dreaming big enough.
Yeah,
Mm,
very true.
true.
Very true.
Yeah, I dream too big sometimes.
No, but that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's all resistance, dude. I feel the same exact way. It's just naturally that's what we do when we feel like we're doing something bigger than we thought we could. And it's just, yeah, there's days where you wake up and you just feel different about it, and then you start doubting it. I think that's where I've been. Well, we've been busy with Mella's party and stuff, but to
Which
get
was
back
a
into the
success,
group.
by the way.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude,
that was
thank you, man.
Fun party.
I was surprised, man. I was surprised like it ended up being like that. It was really fun for us. It's just a lot, dude. I didn't realize how draining it was gonna
You
be.
guys look stressed.
Dude, yeah, because even after cleaning up and then taking everything home and then unloading the cars, it's just, I mean, it's beautiful though. I think I was really inspired to see how much people love Mela and showering her with gifts and everything you guys wrote. It's just beautiful, and it's like, man, like if she only knew how loved she was,
She will.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing. Like, so we're planning to make like an album scrapbook of all the cards that she was given on her first birthday, stuff like that. So.
That's awesome.
See, but you couple that with someone who's trying to do, a lot of different projects on the side that I necessarily don't feel like I have to do. I think that's the thing. The sense of urgency is like less now because I am working a little bit more, and it's if it has to be done, if it should be done, then I can't lose the value of that. So it's finding the balance of, all the vocations that we have, right? like being a dad, being a husband, and then being an instructor, and then starting my own side business. It's like to juggle, to jump from each of the vocations. It's hard to snap back into that mode, you know. So even today, I'm trying to get back into it. I was working today, but I was like on the side reading and trying to write my course. But then, yeah, it's just, it doesn't feel the same.
Completely different headspace.
Yeah, and which is why, like, I think back to us a couple weeks ago, like we were all about projects and stuff, and then, yeah, Melo's party really took my focus to that, and you know, now it's all. I saw it as more of like that lover king feeling of kind of stepping back from everything and appreciating where we're at in life. And then it's the balance of all. I think that's what we've been talking about since Saturday. It's just finding that middle space in this moment. What type of king, warrior, magician, or lover do I need to be in this moment? What's the best combination? And that's really the story of my life right now, man. And one thing that hit me today, I was listening to a podcast or an old recording for Elliot Hulse, and he was just saying, if you don't take the step, you'll never see the bridge to the next part. Like you'll never see that new chapter, you'll never see that new project because you just quit on this one, you know? Or it could be the next step and you didn't know. And that's when people kind of lose themselves, right? When all they had to do was take one more step in front of them, then they would have seen right across the way between the trees that there was a bridge there to the next life. So that's, I'm trying to take it like little by little, but yeah, I think I was telling Ant, and I mentioned to you, Kuya, like I realized how big and daunting the project is turning out to be for CarryOn Dynamic University. So it's bigger than I thought it was, and I have such big dreams for it. I'm trying to jump to like step 5, but I got to take step 1, man, or at least step 2 or 3 right now. You know, so that's the hardest part right now. I think I'm having fun with the podcast. It's not really, it was never the end goal, but we're all kind of on our paths like that. I don't know. There's something about our age right now or our phase in life that everyone's kind of
Like
searching.
you were saying, what do you call it? Every 12 years?
Yeah. The cosmic clock.
Yeah.
Just roughly every 12 years we have this transition. And I don't know, like if you look back, you even said there's times where you noticed you were different or what priorities
You're
were
just
different.
looking for more.
Yeah.
Like you wanted change, but like you didn't know exactly what. You're just open to a lot of things. Sometimes like those things you're open to like led to like mistakes or like good things, you know. But yeah, you're totally right for sure. I have a question. Like, see, we always say that like the younger generation. Do you ever like look within and be like, is it our fault? You know, like because we weren't there. We were like out in the world, like figuring our shit out. I don't know. Just a thought provoking question.
Yeah. You know what? I think so, but that is just on the that's just on the pathway of, I would say, like brotherhood and camaraderie and like serving together. The question to me, like, and this is why Insight even started. It was kind of like, how do we prepare for the next 20 years where not just the generation that's right next to us, like the younger guys, it's more of our children. How are they going to be better than us? I mean, I really think that COVID happened for a reason. I feel like these kids are going to grow up thinking like, oh man, that was like a detrimental thing that happened to the whole world. And they're going to look at people who stood tall during this whole chaos, you know, and now it's becoming us. So it's rather than us being the saviors of them, we're finding out how to save ourselves and people see it. So to live that example in times of struggle and chaos, they're going to look around and see who stood tall and who built something when the ground was just demolished. And those are the people with foundation. And I think that's why I'm going towards this kind of path. Because for one, online learning is huge already. That's what these kids are going to have forever. It's online learning. Zoom meetings are normal now. That's the weird thing. It's like, I always want to do podcasts. I always want to do this. But I was like, it's hard to meet up with people. Dude, Zoom is everything now.
Yeah, now it's no excuses.
Yeah. So then now, like, we have all these tools. We picked the ones that we could use like forever. And that's what these kids know. And it's a perfect segue into like their learning on how to be strong people, honorable people. And I think that's why I always look at failures in society start in the home. They start in the family. And that's it's hard to watch with like the world nowadays. You know, a lot of these younger people that are just wreaking havoc on the world. I mean, yes, the system might be broken, but at home, it's broken even more.
Hmm.
You know, they don't have good examples. They don't have good parents that stuck around, that kind of guided them to understand how to deal with the world. You know, and we're blessed to have that, just that alone, that we had good families to kind of make sure that we were okay. Like, we could disagree if they wanted us to do certain things and shit, but I mean, at the end of the day, they loved us. They care, and that's what some of these kids are missing nowadays, or even people our age. That's the scary part, is that the broken home is it might be one of the biggest causes of why our world is crazy right now. And how do I restore strength in families? How do I restore virtue in vocations? You know, like, I think everyone's looking for the job, like they want a profession, they want the degrees and stuff. No. If your vocation is to be a good father or a good brother or sister, what are the strategies? What are the characteristics of that vocation? Like, a vocation is not a work, or it's not a job. It's your understanding of who you are in life to people, and how do you bring virtue back? I think that's the difference. Is like, people work all they want, they make money, but it's not virtuous to live for yourself. So that's why, like, I broke it down to the minimum on what CarryOn Dynamic University is going to be, and it's just that I want to start in the home, and I want to start in the heart. Like, why are you called to live life? What's your calling? Like, your real calling, not your work, not your job, not your label. You know,
Dude, 100 for sure.
yeah. Because, dude, think about 20 years from now, man. They're gonna look and they're gonna wonder, you know, what do we do? Because maybe shit's gonna hit the fan even worse the next few years, and that's why I started thinking about what we could do. And Insight started because of that. Like, we got to prepare for hard times, because it got fucking hard. You know,
We're in it.
yeah. It's starting right now, and I think it's sparked up because I mean, this is back last year, and when I read "Hard Times Create Strong Men" by Stefan Arnio, and he wrote the book in 2018. He died in early in the pandemic, but not because of COVID. He died because of cancer. But in the book in 2018, he said that in the year 2020, there's going to be some global calamity that's going to shake the entire world, and basically going to rock everybody's perspective on life. And who they're going to look towards are the strong people that stood tall and created a foundation again. And that's why I was like, dude, we got to prepare for the next 20 years. And it's crazy how you predicted that. Because look at us now. It's the whole world is like upside down, you know? So, and on top of that, it was like, I want to have some foundation that I built that's not reliant on someone in an office making decisions to let people work or not, you know? So that's why, like, this whole thing started coming out, and I was like, I'll start a podcast. I want to write online courses. So that's kind of where we're at. And like I said, every week, man, this kind of always brings me back to the why, you know, and it kind of sparks me up to keep working hard.
I
That's
mean,
awesome, man.
I kind of came in the middle of the generational talk.
Well, the question was, I asked Jordan, do we ever like look within and ask ourselves, like, is this our fault? Then that's when you kind of like step back in.
I remember I heard that part, and I was just like, I think our generation, we got pretty lost. I was lost, and I really had no one to really like guide me through those years. And those were very crucial years for me, because I was 21 to 24, and I found myself relying on myself, you know. And I think a lot of the younger guys are very smart and they're very good men. And I don't want to say that I could have made them any better. I think I know all of us being together would make us all better, but I also don't want to take the responsibility. I also don't want to take the credit of saying like they're successful or they made it through and they're not lost because of me, sure. You know. But I think we're always there for them, you know. I think maybe if there's any failure, it's in not letting them know that they can approach us at any time, and you know they that at any moment in their life, if they feel lost, that we'll always be there for them. Because that's
Right.
the truth. I know all of us will always be there for them. I think men in general, we have this toxic masculinity of not asking for help, and I think even when we were younger, we were just lucky enough to be in a time where it was cherished that we were able to be vulnerable. But going into the whole Gen Z thing, I think I've met more Gen Zs in my life this past year than I ever have. Like they're poised to be the most educated generation of all time because of the internet and because of social media and because of interaction. And why is that? Because I feel like communication, when we talk about what is our vocation in our life and what is our purpose, I really feel that sharing who we are and communicating who we are is essential to human existence. If you were just alone in a room and never met anyone, learned anything, or spoke to anyone, and no one ever knew what you're about, who you are, I think that is death. And more so than any other generation, I think this generation is fully open to sharing who they are, good or bad, obviously, right? We know, like everyone knows everyone's fucking business now. I think the problem is that they're so young at this point that they're misusing the well of technology right in front of them. And I think we're the older generation that come from a time without this stuff, that we see the value, and they just don't see the value yet.
Yeah, it's misunderstood. The value is misunderstood.
And they're young. That's the thing. When we were we were like 15, 20 years old. We misuse the internet. Like I never would have thought to use it for, like, LinkedIn would have been weird. Instagram for business, that's a weird thing. MySpace, Friendster, Facebook for business and networking. I never thought to use it for that. I just wanted to get popular. I just wanted to get
right.
So I think give this generation some time. They're going to do some great things, but not before our generation does something.
100%.
We're at this point in our life where, we know a time before 2020. We know a time before the internet. And this is one of the first things we mentioned in Insight, right? Where it's just like I feel like our generation has this perfect balance of the old times, before internet, and we have a good grasp of social media and everything now. We really bridge that gap between the Gen X's and the boomers and now the Gen Z's. The millennials. If millennials can just get out of our own pretentiousness, I think I think we're that perfect bridge, but sorry, that was just a weird generational thing that I kind of like viewed, like, everyone's times are different, and you're right. Like, I think we came from a hard time that created easy times, and now these easy times these kids are growing up in, everything is at their disposal. The danger is having too much. You don't know what to choose anymore, and I was just thinking about this earlier. Like, I go on YouTube and it's a fucking cesspool. It's like there's just bullshit on there, and there's so much shit, right? There's just so much, and it's like depressing because it's like it's so loud. I had like a dialogue in my head. It's like, why is everything so loud? And it sucks. Like, you don't know what is good, you don't know what is right, you don't know what is wrong, you don't know what you want. There's so much out there that it's even harder for people nowadays, especially younger kids, to know who they are, because the whole world, every little bit of it is telling them what they are. And that's the danger of everything right now. And that's what I mean by, like, they're misusing it. You go on social media, so much shit out there, like just people fucking around, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, just burning mattresses in a pool. Like, that is the entertainment it's not even art. We were lucky that there was very minimal movies. Movies weren't made all the time, so when a movie was made, it was good.
It was a big deal.
It was quality. And I think that's why our generation and the stuff that we're doing, like Ant, with your fitness and your meditation and your spirituality flow, that's something that younger kids aren't even going to think of because they don't know anything about it, and it's like such a void. It's such a void in the world today, because everyone just wants to be the fittest and the biggest, and there's no middle balance there. Same with Jordan, you're like dynamics. No one's thinking about dynamics because they feel like everything's just there in front of them. They just want to be the most of everything. That's what it is. It's just you have to be the most extra. There's no understanding of there's extremes and lows, and you want to find that flow balance in the middle. We're the only ones talking about that.
And that's the exact same thing that Anthony said on Saturday, dude.
Oh, really?
We just came full circle.
Finding that neutrality.
And now we're talking about circles again.
In the extremes, but you have to go to the extremes to find that mid balance, the right balance for right now. Dude, 100%.
Find that contrast.
Man.
Yeah. I just want to chime in before I have to log off.
Yeah.
Just back to the question I asked. I remember in my mid-20s, the year they elected the new officers. Both my brothers were selected. I think you guys too.
No, I wasn't.
I feel like I was the only one. I just remember wanting it so bad at that time, and then now looking back out at everything, I'm grateful that didn't happen.
Yeah, dude.
And I was just it forced me to get out there. And I made mistakes along the way, but I found myself. I found I like to say I found my calling. And the question that I asked was do I feel like it's our fault? I feel like it's not. I feel like they're gonna thank us even more for thinking bigger, branching off, and following your passions, your dreams, and finding your own way, your own path. And it's gonna be hard. You're gonna struggle. You're gonna hit rock bottom. But that's how you know you don't want to be in that position again.
Yeah.
And that just drives that hunger, and really just shows how bad you want it, the relentlessness,
Yep.
And I had this original conversation with Janaea, and we're just talking about mental toughness, and then we're just looking at our friends or family, whoever, and then the both of us just were you know what, I like to think of us as we're mentally tough, we know how to handle bad situations. Yeah, it's never perfect, but we always get back to the middle. We're not in extremes, we're not pissed or ignorant, we're always back to what matters. And what matters to us, family, the family we choose, you guys, close friend circles. I feel that's definitely something that is a void too, just that mental toughness,
emotional
intelligence for sure.
Damn,
you
dude.
just don't see many people that are battle tested, and if they are there is hardships in front of them, I like to see it as people not embracing their cross or embracing their struggles, because I like to think that the universe, God, is conspiring for us. Any bad decision that we ever made, he gave us that beauty of the opportunity. People who aren't in the positions they want to be in life is because they didn't fully grasp their struggle. They chose to dwell in it instead of making it a sign of strength.
Avoid it or push it away or dwell in it, just cry, sit in front of it and just cry about it.
Just wallow.
Damn.
You could embrace your struggle and come out on top by showing your vulnerability and coming off as courageous, rather than having struggle and then look like you're coming off needy. There's a difference. It's all just perspective at the end of the day.
A very small example is when you were training me last week, and I just was gonna stop. I was literally gonna stop. I was I can't fucking do this. I can't fucking do this. But you taught me to embrace it, and I just pushed and pushed. Even if I looked like a piece of shit and I was grunting like a fucking loser, I pushed and I felt amazing. Imagine if I had just given up on that first set, which I wanted to. I was dude, I would have been done already.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm making sense,
oh yeah,
the balance of your struggle, finding that beauty in it. And I feel a lot of people just don't know how to handle it, and they just crumble instead of rising to the occasion.
It's there to help you grow and to become more,
Exactly.
And
exactly.
if you don't embrace it, you don't ever become more. That's what you're saying. I think it's that saying, whether you say you can or you can't, you're right.
You're right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I actually just made an Instagram post right before I logged in. And and it was like me like posing at Sky Forest in Lake Arrowhead, and I was doing like a kind of like a kung fu like Bruce Lee pose, and then I put for my caption like channeling my inner Bruce Lee, and then for the quote, I fucking love this quote. It goes, "No way as way, no limitation as limitation." Like it just shows like people just they're like ants, you know, like they just follow the line and they don't think outside of that. You can like break that line with just like breaking the sand or the dirt, you know, and like they're gonna feel lost. You're like, oh shit, what do I do? What do I do? All you have to do is just weather through it and just follow the course.
Just stay the course.
I feel like most people just they're limiting themselves with this negative self-talk. You know, like nobody wants to like clear their thoughts and really just channel that energy into something productive anymore. And I feel like we all have gone through shit within the past year. You know, like we're not making excuses. We're making shit happen.
And that doesn't mean that we didn't have the thought to make excuses.
We thought about quitting.
We totally did. Yeah.
Sure.
You know?
It's easier.
Yeah. Oh,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But that's just not who we are.
And then you're just back to where you started, or even worse.
Yeah. I think that makes sense to me. The way that we were kind of getting to is we're not responsible. They weren't responsible for us, nor are we responsible for the next generation, but we're responsible for ourselves to be that person that we want to become, to be that strong person that we think can help. Whether they like that, they want the help or not, we're just going to be us. And if they choose to ask for help, you know we're going to be there. You know?
Exactly.
But it's not our responsibility.
And we're better equipped.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing right now, is that we're equipping ourselves, right?
We saw that void. I think we looked for guidance and they weren't equipped.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Right. Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
True.
What it is. Shit, man.
Well, on that note, man, thank you. That was a good talk.
Hell yeah.
I might even, dude, if you guys don't mind, I might even chop it up and make it an episode.